I am live. Well, here we are. I have so much to talk about today. Hello, my name is Rochelle. I have a food blog. I'm going to call it my cookbook blog. Be- feedingacrowd.com. So it's feeding-a-crowd.com. And I am on Pinterest, I am on Facebook, and then I am also on Instagram and Pinterest. So there you go. And of course, I'm here on YouTube. Thank you for watching this. I have so much going on today. I am again today honoring the Laura Secord cookbook. You know, she is, after all, a sort of historical figure to us Canadians. And she is, of course, also the Laura Secord is also a really good chocolate and candy shop in Canada. But yeah, so I'm going to talk about this today. Um, and Also, because I have absolutely grown in love, becoming to love sourdough starter and sourdough everything sourdough. I will tell you that I am selling sourdough starter. So it's in a dehydrated form, and um, I sell it very cheaply, and it's foolproof. This sourdough starter is like my star, and so please go to my website, and you can get 3 starters for just $18. It's super worth it, and it's foolproof. It takes 2 days. Well, on the third day, you can make a recipe, and that's it. Like, everyone's going to think you're a star, and you've had sourdough starter for 6 months. So I do not have ads or pop-ups on my website. All I ask is for donations, because it does cost money to run this website and to do the research and create the recipes. So please just think about it. A donation goes a long way for me. Here we are. Last week, while I was talking to you guys, it occurred to me that a lot of us don't know much about braising. I think it's something that went out of style for a longest time. With the new Ninja cookers and those pressure cookers, everything, we don't do much braising anymore. In fact, I think the crock pot, poor thing, has gone out of style, but not with me. I still love braising, and I still love my crock pot. I think that it's one of the best ways to cook food, cheap, like a cheaper cuts of meat. And I think that braising should absolutely return. Go back to slow cooking. I understand that we all love things that come quickly, but sometimes doing things slower is nice. And braising, I mean, we're all smoking meats now, and foods, not just meat. So why not go back to braising? So braising basically is you flour and salt and season your meat. You don't have to flour it; it's an option. And then you sear it really, really well, and you remove it. You add all your vegetables, which are, in fact, what you add to your pot is what we call it's the flavors, right? It's what everything will taste like. It really is that. So you'll add carrots, celery, onions. You could add your potatoes at this time, but and garlic. You got to have garlic, and you sear that, and whatever is left in your pot, and you return the meat to it. So the braising part is when you add liquid to halfway to your meat, and you return the lid to your meat, and you put that in the oven for 2 to 3 to 4 hours. And it doesn't matter how tough your cut of meat is, be it a blade, a roast, pork. It can work with ham, even though ham is already cooked, or chicken, and any other meats. In fact, if down in history, coq au vin comes from that. Coq is a rooster, right? As is our hens. You cannot just cook a hen. Hen, of course, is a chicken, but a hen is the one that lays your eggs, and she will be very, very tough. Hey, hello, people. Hi. Welcome to a Feeding a Crowd blog cookbook. Glad to have you here. Say hi if you want. Please don't remember to like me, and to subscribe if you want. So I'm talking about braising because last week we touched on braising, and we were talking about stews. And stews are sort of braising, except that it's all liquid. And I'm telling you, like, so I'm saying that, that hens and roosters and some ducks, depending on the time of the year, will be super tough. You can't just cook them and think they'll be delicious. They will not. And hens lay the eggs. They do not, they have no fat to them. you have to stew them or braise them. And that's why I think braising is something that has has been lost, but I think it's going to come back, just like smoking, just like stewing foods and preserving food. And braising is like the best way to cook a cheap cut of meat, and I think it's super important. So once you've seared your meat, you remove it, you add your vegetables, you saute that with all your aromatics, right? Be it thyme and rosemary and savory and marjoram, all of those, that good stuff, and you add it back there. You put in your meat, you add liquid to have to it. You could add stock or bouillon, but water will do also. And you could always add a bit of wine. You can never go wrong with a bit of wine in braising, because it adds so much flavor to a cheap cut of meat. Like when you buy a blade roast, you got all this sinew and tendons, on top of the bone. And you end up, you can't imagine you can eat that. It's so tough. It looks like a steak, but it's inedible as is. But once you've braised it for a few hours, it just all falls apart. It's like pulled meat, in fact. Yeah, a lot of pulled pork is that's the method they use, is braising. So if you want pulled chicken, if you want pulled beef, that's basically the method, is braising. It's not stewing. So I think that if you guys want to try it, I have quite a few good recipes. One that came out last week, right? The braised beef tortellini, and that in that recipe I talk about braising. It's I used a cheap cut of meat and I made it into like a four-star dinner by using the braised meat with caramelized onion and putting it in a tortellini. So there you go. So I think that it's the best way to have a lot of flavor using a cheap cut of meat, and braising is just delicious. Plus your house smells wonderful, and a house that smells wonderful makes people happy. So if you have questions, hi people, thank you for joining me. If you have questions, please just add them to the chat. I'm always reading. Say hi. That is always great. Have you guys ever braised meat? Well, I think some of you must have at some point made pulled pork, because it was so popular for the longest time. Don't forget to thumbs up. And thanks, Michael, and hi. That's very kind. So yeah, so don't forget to subscribe and say hi. And yeah, so if any of you have a braising questioned or done it, what's your favorite recipe? Do you plan on trying it? Do you plan on buying the cheapest cut of beef out there on the counter and trying to braise it? You'll be happily surprised. Yeah, so that's it. So now I'm going to go to my discovery of the week. That's a good one. So this is my discovery of the week. It's not cheese. Got you there. Haha. It's a small flat container. For those of you who are just listening and not looking, usually it's a brie. And like you put like camembert brie and you melt it. However, my daughter in here has made me a scrubbing, a kitchen scrub that is all natural. It works so well. I use it just like, I'll get it, a sponge. So basically, you use your sponge, you go like this, and it cleans absolutely everything. It does not scratch neither the stovetop, neither my pots or the sink or, anything. And you say, so what did you, and it smells, I love using it. It smells so wonderful. So it's this scrub that is very easy to make. You just need to think about it. Well, there you go, Michael. That's exactly what you braise it and makes a good stew if you do it in a stock pot. Even though making a stew is you cover your meat, you cover everything in the stock. Braising, you usually cover only about halfway. So it's not as liquidy. It's not, that's why you make pulled pork red, right? Because once you break up the meat, it's in its less juice and it makes a good pulled pork. But it's almost the same technique. So now to go back to this wonderful scrub. So it's made with equal parts of baking soda, gray clay, which you can get almost anywhere now, and I would say natural health stores, but also like a lot of maybe your pharmacy could have it. Also Castille or black soap and pumice stone powder, which all of this, of course, you can get in on Amazon. If any of you want it, let me know. Actually, here, I don't think you guys will have access to the chat once it's over, but here is what it is, the recipe basically, here in chat, okay? So if you want to make this, I love it. It smells amazing. It works amazing. It does not hurt anything, and everyone should use it. So here you go. That's my discovery of the week. So last week, oh, it smells wonderful. So last week's recipes, I had the naan, right, which we discussed at length, because naan is delicious with so much food, and we can make pizza with it. And that recipe you can find from last week on my blog. And also, I had a caramelized onion beef stew. So, almost like braising, but it's a stew. Again, eating stew in the winter is the only time you want to eat it. And only like, it has to be delicious. Because to me, stew brings back bad memories. Oh, thank you, Fairy. It's called a scoring cake. Isn't that amazing? I love her scoring cake. Now I have a name. I'm going to call this Felicity Scoring Cake. I would sell this. I think everyone should make this. Or Felicity should make it a lot for markets. Hint, hint. So thank you for that, Fairy. And so there we go. Yeah, and so the stew was a big thing. And then on Friday, I gave you my most delicious braised beef and caramelized onion with ricotta tortellini. It's absolutely mind-blowing. You put braised beef in a tortellini with almost anything, it's going to blow your mind. It's hearty and it's delicious. And I make the tortellinis a bit bigger, like quite, a nice size. And so you'd think, oh, 4 tortellinis doesn't look like enough in a plate. Well, it's filled with beef and ricotta. It's delicious. Glad someone likes stew more than me. It better be special stew, Michael. And yeah, so that when you make tortellini and you put braised beef in it with ricotta, which I like to make homemade, but frankly, store-bought always works. Homemade is just special. It's when you have that extra time on a cold winter day and you say, today I have fresh milk I buy mine at the butcher's, from the butcher's or a local market, and I'm making ricotta. So that's just special, but buying it works. My other trick when making pasta, like stuffed pasta, is using egg roll wrappers. That's horrible. No, it's not. It's better to make the tortellinis with egg roll wrappers than never make them, because you don't have time to make the pasta, right? Right. So, I would love it if you looked at that recipe and just comment on it if you have questions, or if you want to make it and you're not sure. I have so many shortcuts, like when I make food like that. And my first shortcut is you can buy the ricotta. You can also buy a homemade sauce. I serve mine usually with the bone marrow tomato sauce. But frankly, if I had my fresh, which I still have in my freezer, tomato sauce from this summer, I think it'd be awesome. It's not the same flavor, but it'll work. And the reason I'm talking about the bone marrow tomato sauce is because I will be putting that up on the blog next week. And basically, it's an amazing, rich tomato sauce that I will add bone marrow to. And it sounds weird, bone marrow to a tomato sauce. Bone marrow adds a flavoring to a tomato sauce that is just yummy-licious. It adds umami to the sauce, and it just makes it a very special sauce. People ask you, what's in the sauce? Oh, it's just a tomato sauce. And you're like, no, it's not. Plus, a lot of people love to eat the bone marrow. So, if you put a piece of the bone marrow to the people that love it, they'll just eat all that marrow out of the bone. And so the bone marrow sauce is coming up next week. Also, I've been playing with more vegetarian and vegan recipes. There's some foods that are super good for us, including cabbage, including kale, including, all those pulses, which are beans. all kinds of beans, mostly white beans. I like white beans and black beans. I'm not fond of kidney beans, even though I will eat them. I do like white kidney beans. I love butter beans. So I've been eating more beans. I've been eating, a bit of vegetarian foods. And the recipes I'm coming out with is the honey glazed cabbage with white beans and roasted garlic. Who doesn't love roasted garlic? And who knew that cabbage could be delicious? So I made it. We had it, and then I made it again, and we had it again. And the recipe is phenomenal. It's that you don't know that you're eating cabbage. And with the amber, like with the honey glaze on it, it's just so delicious. And you eat that on the white bean mixture under it. It's totally yummylicious. So that recipe is coming out next week as one of my vegan recipe. And I will put up the oatmeal brown bread. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining me. Say hi, and please like my channel and subscribe if you want. That's always awesome. YouTube likes it. I like it. And, it's always nice to have you guys to chat with. So, yes, that's true, Michael. The red lentil and the naan are match made in heaven. I mean, yeah, and it's even better the next day. Yeah, red lentil curry is and I did put out that recipe last week. And so, yeah, so are the three recipes that are coming out next week. And of course, next Sunday is when I send out my newsletter. So if you want to receive the newsletter, you just need to go on the website and subscribe. And I will be sending out the newsletter, and you always get a sneak peek you get the recipes ahead of everyone else. So last week we discussed this book, this my very old and very well used recipe book, and we were talking about the menus they had, which we would never ever do ourselves, right? And the menu that I want to talk about this week is this one. Okay, so Laura Sicard recipe book, older book. And so on Dominion Day, you guys know what Dominion Day is? I bet, well, I'm sure the older people would. So Dominion Day is Canada Day. Yep. Originally called Dominion Day, the holiday was renamed in 1982, the same year that the Canadian Constitution was patriated by the Canada Act 1982, which severed the vestiges of legal dependence on the Parliament of the United Kingdom. 1982 was the day it became Canada Day. So, what else? So it was a federal statutory holiday. It celebrates the anniversary of Canadian Confederation, which occurred on July 1st, 1867. So anyways, the reason I'm saying that, I don't know if you lost me or not, but here I am. So a menu from this book on Dominion Day that would happen at a party, because it is on July 1st, is Solomon Gundy. Do I know what Solomon Gundy is? No, I don't. Solomon Gundy. Do you want to look it up? I'm going to look it up because, wow, why don't I know what Solomon Gundy is? Sometimes you have to wonder. Okay, it's page 154. Page 154, 154, 135, 154. So a Solomon Gundy is a very old recipe. This appetizer is typically of the Lunenburg County area. Wow, I went to Lunenburg County. I mean, we rented a house there with the kids. It was awesome. Okay, thoroughly clean and remove the skin from 2 salt herrings. So it's herring. Fillet and cut in 2 inches. Soak in cold water for 5 hours. Changing water frequently. Drain. Heat. Sufficient vinegar to cover herring. This is not sure now. Remove from heat and stir in 1 tablespoon granulated sugar, pinch of pepper. Allow to cool. Pour over herring and add 1 onion sliced. Let stand for a few hours. Serve squares of marinated herring on slices of raw onion, set on a cracker or toast, and garnish with pickled red pepper strips. I'm sorry, I want to try this now. I like making cabbage rolls. I never put up the recipe, but Solomon Gundy is basically salted herring and you marinate it. It just blows my mind. Like there's so many recipes we're not aware of anymore. Salted herring was they salting fish or meats is the best way of preserving, right? So rhubarb cocktail. The rhubarb cocktail, I think I have somewhere here or not. I think I forgot where I put it. I think I forgot where I put my rhubarb cocktail. Yeah, pretty much. But it's a rhubarb cocktail, right? Cold sliced peasants or coulibiac. Still don't know what that is. Barbecued ribs, yay. Montrose pickled baby corn or spiced crabapple jelly. Potato chips. Tomato stuffed with curried rice. Sliced cucumbers and sour cream. Sourdough bread. Blueberry muffins. Gem-seg strawberry shortcake or butter tarts. Canadian cheese and crackers with lemonade. That, people, is what you would eat on Dominion Day patio party from my Laura Secord book. Everyone should have one. Every Canadian should have a book. Not everyone. Canadian should. That was not even funny. But I would love us to talk about having vintage parties and using, I'm talking about this book, but I also have plenty of Martha Stewart books. Of course, even better is Julia Child. You make a party just around one chef or one area or one cookbook, and everyone has to make the dish the best they can. It means that we're growing our horizons. I want to do this with people. Who wants to do this? Dominion Day patio party. There's so many. There's the East Coast supper with soused herring. Who knew? PEI potato soups, corned beef and cabbage, corn fritters. Like it's on and on. It's so much fun to do that. You get some people that it doesn't matter who. You just ask who wants to do this. We have like 10 dishes. You can make 2 each. If you're more people, anyways, I would love to do this. I've done this. I've done the Julia Child supper with my friends while we watched Julie and Julia. It was absolutely amazing. And the Burgundy wine was phenomenal. So yes, so that is I guess a throwback Sunday with my recipe books. And time goes by when you're having fun. Do you have questions about what recipes would you like to see? Do you have questions about klebiak? Because I don't know what that is either. Have you made any of my recipes? And do I have a mistake in them? Did something not work for you? Like for instance, did you know when you make bread, depending where you live, it won't rise the same, and that matters. Also, you know how I make crackers? I'll be right back. I've made crackers using sourdough, and these crackers are phenomenal. There's just, basically, I take the discard, I dehydrate it. No, I cook it. I add a lot of, all little sesame seeds and pepper and herbs. Here I have herbe provinciale, so it smells amazing. And then I cook, and then when you take it out of the oven, it's actually not dry like this. Now it's hard, hard, hard. It's actually like a chip, very hard chip. It's very good for us. There's nothing wrong with it. Mine might be a bit saltier because I like salt, and they're vinegary because my sourdough discard is a bit vinegary. So everyone thinks that I added vinegar to it. I did not. Very good. I had them this week. I bought a like sort of frozen ready-made tartar, beef tartar. It was bison. Very good with tartar. So yeah, so you have a sourdough discard. Takes a few minutes, and you have crackers that are absolutely like chips. They're good for us, and yeah. Oh, and in the mix, I had added a bit of honey. So there you go. So I want to thank you for joining me. Please do subscribe and to all my channels. It's really fun. I try to put as many recipes I can. I try to answer all your questions. So remember, it's feedingacrowd.com. And I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook, Pinterest, and YouTube. I feel like I'm missing one, but It doesn't matter. And I'll see you next week. I'll put out my whatever I'm going to do. This what I plan. I'm going to put it out and let you know what I'm going to talk about. If there's something you want to talk about, let's go for it, people. See you. Have a wonderful day.